execs made millions and artists exploited. Play on the waves equals underpaid. For the culture only, y'all paved the way. Crazy crush forever, Katie Miller. She didn't love me back, go figure. Left a void in the heart, eating me a thriller. At a time when there was no fucking filter.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Getting Close Up, the show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Cox, and I'm so glad you're here because I've got somebody pretty dope that I need you to meet. Now, if you ask my guest, he'll just say he's a simple dude, a hip-hop artist, a host, a family man, with a heart and a passion for conversations that reveal the truth of humanity. Today, we are getting close up with Mikey P of We Outside Livecast, also known as LID13. Welcome.
Happy to be here. It's a privilege and it's an honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. I feel honored as well. And we talked a little bit online and got all this set up. So I really appreciate it because we're in a similar space. You have a live cast. We're going to talk about everything that you do, but we got introduced to you in this episode through a music video that we played at the top before my introduction.
Yes.
And talk to me a little bit about that, Letter to the West.
So Letter to the West, it's a track. It's the first single I ever put out under a different moniker. But it was important to me because when I was growing up, and I originate from a place called Bridgeport, Connecticut, as the crow flies from New York City, you know, the origination and mecca of hip hop, of course, on Sedgwick Avenue.
Right.
You know, at about 8 to 10 years old, I got introduced to hip hop through the likes of Ice-T, NWA, Dr. Dre, and that whole West Coast sound. So it was very important and necessary to me because I'm one that always pays homage to those that came before me. And it was very necessary for me to, you know, for the first single and video that I ever had put out there to say thank you to the West Coast hip hop sound as a whole. And that's how we got to Letter to the West.
And it feels like an ode to hip hop. I see that in the imagery. I feel that. And then you also, there's a great vocalist on there. I just want to talk about her for a second. She's amazing.
Sasha Stone, she is something special. I told my engineer when we put that together, like she took that track over the top.
She did.
And what was really cool, quick little backstory to that track, like I had everything written. We didn't know how we were going to structure or organize that song.
Yeah.
Like Sasha is so organic when she comes to her energy and frequencies of music, which I'm very much the same. She didn't even know what she was going to do until we were in the studio that day. So she came in as I was recording my parts. Once we structured out the verses, she just sat there and listened and took this in. And then after I was doing my thing, done doing my thing, she came in and then she dropped her harmonies and the melodies. Like I've had some people be like, yo, is that like whatever? No, all of the melody and harmony on that track, that is all Sasha, and it really pulled that song together the way that I wanted to, because I'd given that track everything I already could at that point. Yeah. And so I reached out to her to tie it up in a bow for me, and she did.
Her, when she comes in, she feels like the voice of reason and the peace and the calm and the, you know what I'm saying?
Amongst all the chaos.
Amongst all the chaos. And so it just flowed really well with her voice and her presence and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and start talking about something that you kind of already hinted at, previous moniker. Now, you're known as LID13.
Yes.
Now, you've gone through a few changes, and changes to creatives and name changes and that type of thing is not new. But talk to me a little bit about why you wanted to make a distinction between Mikey P and LID13.
Great question. And I needed, you know, I had been searching for the last 5 years or so for like a true identity for my artistry, right? Mikey P is what my friends and my family call me. But I needed a distinction away from that with respect to my artistry.
Right.
And that's where LID13 came in. I had gone through a couple different monikers as you had mentioned, and recently just kind of tying myself back into the universe and asking for some guidance and figuring out, you know, this journey of music and artistry that I've been on. I came to LID13, which simply stands for Light in Darkness 13. The 13 lunar changes within a year, and 13 also is my actual born date as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So it just made a lot of sense given the whole history of my life, honestly, and then very much the transformation of myself as an artist as well. But to tie it back to the original part of the question, I needed the distinction because there's LID13, the hip hop artist, and there's Mikey P, as you put it at the top, the simple man, which is very true. Just a very simple, humble dude here, nothing more than that.
Now, I wanted to talk about that because it's really important because a lot of artists, they are so tied to their craft and what they create is such a big part of them that they may not understand that it could come to a point where you need a distinction between who you are as a brand, who you are as an artist, and who you are as a person,
Correct.
and how those things go where. So, in relation to that, how does the difference between Mikey P and LID13 tie into the live cast? Will that anything change with that?
I think you'll see bits and pieces of LID13 kind of here and there. But again, the thing about our We Outside livecast that I host, of course, shout out to my brother, John Windham, aka OG Dooney to some out there. Our platform is really one of true organicness and authenticness and realness. And so I'm going to remain Mikey P there because that's who started the podcast.
Right. And that's you.
That's me.
Right. That's why you made that line.
Exactly. But I'm sure you might see LID13 pop up here and there on the live cast from time to time, if you will.
I mean, it's conversations with creatives, so it makes sense, of all different kinds, and not just creatives. You talk to a lot of different kinds of people, but let's get into why you wanted to do the podcast in the first place. So, what made you start that?
Ultimately, it just started out randomly. One Sunday, I was like, I'm just gonna do a live with with my original co-host of the live cast, and then because we both had a love and knack for hip hop, and so that's what we just started talking about. And then next week we went on, and then next week, and then I was like, it would be cool to start getting in with some artists. So then we started bringing some artists in, and then with the deep conversations that we were having, because we started to really understand, and it really became noticeable to me, that with the authenticness of our conversations, because there's nothing scripted. We flow like you would on a freestyle or an off the dome type of track, right? So it really started to have us get to know the human being behind the artist. And naturally, we talked about their art, but we wanted to get to know more the human being behind the artist.
It is a more freeform kind of conversation.
Yes.
Like there was one I thought it was super cute. His daughter popped in for a minute.
Yes, Elusive Eagle. Shout out to Elusive Eagle. Yes.
For a minute, it was a really cute, real moment. It wasn't like, oh no, oh wait, 'cause I'm doing this. It was like, nah, we here talking.
We just let it flow.
Baby girl wants to say goodnight.
It's a conversation. We want to have the ability to let people know, because I think, especially in today's social media structure, I think we as human beings get too caught up in everything's got to be completely polished and completely perfect.
Right.
Be that as it may, depending what your brand is. Let me be very clear. Depending what
your brand and your method is,
you have a secret sauce to that. I get that. So we just do it from the standpoint that at the end of the day, you can do it however you want, as long as you're authentic and of pure intent. And that's why we're happy to let things behind the scenes like that happen, because there's no editing or anything like that. It's just, let's have a human conversation, and whatever happens, happens. So it's almost, we don't need, listen, people, you don't need permission to do anything out here in life.
Right.
But it's almost a way for us just to let people know that, look, you can be truly authentic and not have to have things polished for it to be a pure intent and for people to take a liking to it as well.
Yeah. And you give the people that come on an opportunity to introduce themselves and be the first person to speak on what it is that they do, which is also a unique thing. Sometimes people might not know exactly what to say, but once they start talking, it just flows into something. I know a lot of people are usually nervous when they have to talk about themselves, but it seems like you set the environment where that doesn't happen as much.
Not generally, even when to the point that you just made. Some people are sometimes, and we get with them, we have a couple of phone calls with them just to let them know just the bare basic, it's literally, don't worry about anything. It's literally just a conversation that we're having.
Right.
And we kind of give them a little heads up as far as, we're going to maybe give you some kind of small introduction just as the guest. But who better than yourself, especially people who have the opportunity, to go on multiple platforms. We want to give them that ability to tell who they are in their own words in a way that they might not have the opportunity to on every platform that we go to. So like we tell people when they come on to our live cast that it's not our show. It's that person's show. We're just there to facilitate the conversation. So we want them to own that show in whatever way they feel comfortable. And it's gotten so comfortable in some cases to what you mentioned.
Yeah.
I've had people after the fact tell me, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. And not necessarily in a bad way, but it's like, I would have never said that, or I never would have thought that.
They start talking about real life stuff, like
we get exclusives that we don't even ask
like
for
a fight that they got into with, a significant other or whatever. Not a fight, but like an argument or just like a conversation, and it opens up okay, well, how do you handle this type thing, and everybody starts relaying their experiences, and it just flows and moves into a thing that is really about them and their lives, and they just feel open to be able to talk about it, which I think is really special. When you are looking for guests, what type of people are you looking for? You don't script anything, but you got to have something in mind, of course, when you're reaching out to people. So what is it that you look for?
People, one thing and one thing only. People that are authentic. That's really, we want real people because we want to have real human conversations.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I don't care if you have a big name. And we've had some well-known names,
yes,
right?
You absolutely
people
have.
that have been considered celebrities, right? And we've had people who nobody would know. But every person that we have a conversation with is a real human being with a real story to share. And that is the only thing that we ever look for, whether these people have a name to them or not, because that's not important to us. We just want to talk with real human beings.
Yeah. And I know that is one of the reasons why you're so passionate about that, is because with your life as an artist, you've had a lot of different experiences.
Yes.
And you have challenges and things like that help you connect with them on that level as an artist. But one of the things that you purposely challenge yourself with is to get better at your own craft. And I've seen conversations that you've had with artists about that. But you did something really special. The Golden Era 100-track salute.
Yes.
I want to talk about that because that's really interesting. I don't think there are some artists that work on their craft and challenge, but there's been a lot of conversations lately about performance prowess and, people kind of just getting up there and not thinking they have to do much but be a personality. But you're like putting in work. So talk to me about that.
So the shadow work, it was part of the shadow work, right? Like when, I've, as I mentioned earlier, when I first got introduced to hip hop, way back when, I was 10 years old. And I told my cousin Megan at one point, I was like, yo, one day I'm going to be a hip hop artist. I didn't know it was going to be 35 years later, right? But when I started my journey, I had work to do. I knew I had work to do. And that was part of, going through finding my identity. That was part of it. Going through the 100-track challenge, because again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm always going to pay homage to people that have set the table or laid the path for me.
And was that like a track every day for 100 days, or how did that go again?
Yeah, so what I did was, it was funny how it started, because I was having a conversation with somebody on a Friday, and I was like, I had just accomplished like my first feat for myself as a songwriter, and I had written an entire song in one day.
Oh, wow.
Then I was like, well, maybe I'll write 3 songs in one day. That's my next challenge. And I was like, fuck it. Jokingly, I was like, maybe I'll write 100 tracks in 30 days. And I said it out loud. I put it out to the world. I had to accept it for myself, because if I'm going to give myself a challenge, I'm going to do it whether I was joking or not.
130 days is a lot.
So, but at the same time, I was like, well, where do I get 100 beats? Well, there's beats all over the place. And again, wanting to pay homage to the golden era. I use specifically, obviously it could be debatable as far as what the time frame was, but I use specifically 1990 to 2005. So I went through and took 100 beats between 1990 and 2005.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they're from all over the country.
Yeah, there's some
everywhere
stuff in there too.
So I did it for the shadow work. I did it to pay respects. But I also, in knowing that I was already on my transition to becoming, not necessarily at the time, LID13.
Right.
I really needed help find my identity. So going through those 100 tracks from all over the country allowed me the ability to have, I'll tell you right now, facts. I can rap over any beat because I did that challenge. I have the confidence. I can go over, give me anything, pop, rap, country, rock, I don't care, because I put that work in the 100 tracks, and it helped me find my identity of who I am today, and my sound sonically as well.
That is awesome because I will tell you one of the things that surprised me in working with artists is you find out that not everybody is confident in that. Now you prepared a performance for us.
I did.
Talk to me about this song. Was it one of the? It's not one of the 100. It's a new song.
It's a brand new song. You know, and going through now, putting everything together because I'm releasing it here officially in a couple days.
Yeah.
It's really a story of, you know, my father was present, but he wasn't present with me growing up. He worked nights my entire life. Even on holidays, he wasn't really there. So I found male figures growing up. First, I say in the track, Miguel's LK. Miguel was a Latin king that lived down the street from me on Midland Street.
Okay.
So he had Burgundy the paint. He had the Ford Mustang Burgundy the paint, hat slate gray. He had a drop top Mustang, gold wheels, system. That excited me. He had cute honeys, and I'm like 8, 9 years old, right?
You 8 or 9 years old, it sounds great. You know what I'm saying? It looks great, and it's appealing to you.
Very much. Yeah. So he became an early male figure, to me. And then later on in verse 2, I talk about another Ford, and it was a Ford Explorer that I was talking about. My cousin, who I had mentioned earlier, she was dating somebody at the time by the name of Tim. Tim with the Tims. That's Tim. Ford Explorer green. By the time I got to my teenage years, I had discovered this life of being affiliated and other things as well. But it all ties back to me looking for the replacement that I needed in a male figure. And I was first attracted to these individuals by the amps and the boom.
Yeah, I like how you tied all that back to it. And I'm really excited to hear it. So why don't you get to it?
Let's go.
All right, we got something real special for y'all. It's LID13 with Amps and Boom.
All right, everybody, let's go. I gotta go find someone that was missing, like on a milk box type of mission. So why don't we go ahead and talk about it right now? First time it shook at the 8A, Burgundy the pain, hat slate gray, and 88, that pace had paid, a Ford Mustang, A straight bait, Miguel's LK, returned Mary Kay, wait to absorb, learned every way, guess you could say, affirmed every day, pops hit the booth, yearned anyway, for some vibrant sounds of silence, the beats I heard, pounding violent, at that age, grounds for a whiling, drunks drown the pain, now we driving, amps in the front, boom in the back, 20s on the wheels, 305s on the track, amps in the front, boom in the back, 20s on the wheels, 305s on the track, one forward to another, about to uncover what alliance means, about to discover colors and culture, clouds of summer, Friday night lights, doubt I'm covered, a 6 in the 5, shit could get live, Tim with the Tims, with hood set guy, PSA time with good dead lies, see what they do, which would vet highs, living in line, a place of blight stream, where the cops pace, the spike dream, drugs, corruption, the space right between, gang, the mob waits fight to be king, amps in the front, boom in the back, 20s on the wheels, 305s on the track, amps in the front, boom in the back, 20s on the wheels, 305s on the track, amps in the front, boom in the back, 20s on the wheels, 305s on the track, keep your head down, no eye contact, keep your ears open, no lie on that, no lie on that, no lie on that, keep your ears open, no lie on that, on that, on that, on that, on that, keep your ears open, no lie on that.
I mean, that was awesome.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
And I'm glad you you gave the idea of what was going on in the song before we listened to it, because I saw it. You know what I'm saying? I saw it all in pictures. And y'all would have been laughing at me because I was on the other side just dancing. I can't hardly shake to save my life, but I was I was feeling the amps in the boom. Like, I was like, eh. So, but I'm glad there's no camera back there. But but no, that was you paint a story very well of a perspective of being young and these people that you're looking up to, because you know that boom when those cars go down the street and they boom like that, it hits you in your chest.
It does very much. It spoke to my soul. It really
Mhm.
did. It really, really did.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Thank you for sharing
No,
that.
thank you for allowing
Definitely.
me. I appreciate it.
Now, with you going through this journey to discover yourself as an artist, applying that LID13, you got your beautiful logo there behind you. What are your goals as an artist?
Just to continue to put out authentic and real music. I tell people all the time, and some people are going to see this like, why would this person say this? I am not in the music business.
Mm.
I am in the truth and enlightenment business, and I choose to seek that through music. I simply want my music to be heard and felt, most importantly felt, by the people that need to feel it. Because my journey is very similar to those out there, even those that won't admit it or don't even know it,
Mm.
of healing from pain, from addiction. You know, I'm an alcoholic. I'm almost 5 years clean and sober at this point in time.
Congratulations to you on that.
I appreciate
know it's a
that.
lot of work that goes into it, but still,
Rent
it's
is due daily.
yeah,
Rent is due daily. Do not
deserves
fail me.
recognition for it.
I appreciate that very much, and that's it. Like, I just want to be sustainable with my music. I don't want to be famous. I don't. I really don't.
You don't seem like you would want to be famous.
No, I just want to live a sustainable life for me and my family. Like, if you go to my Mikey P profile, it says 3 things in there: take care of my family,
Right.
be an asset to others, and make music. In that order. If I have the ability and sustainability to do those 3 things, I don't care what my bank account says, truly. Because if I have those 3 things and the sustainability of that, I am one of the richest people walking this earth. And that is all I want for my music.
You do put the guns down as part of your platform,
Yes.
and that is also very much related to the lives of children and the experiences that they go through. We talked about how it affected, seeing those gangsters and the things that they had, how that affected you. And I know gun violence was also probably a part of that as well, experiencing that. So talk to me about why you wanted to incorporate Put the Guns Down into your platform.
Very simple, because gun violence is something that, sadly and unfortunately, it's not going to go away. 685 people per day are taken. Keyword people, taken. They don't die from gun violence. They're taken. But that also doesn't account for people who do take their own lives, or people who are victims of gun violence and survive it, or the collateral damage of gun violence, who are family members or other people affected by the individual that is either taken or wounded by gun violence. But also another piece of that is the underlying mental health part.
It reverberates.
Very much so.
It's
Very
the
much
ripples in the
so.
water.
So it was the gun violence and it was the mental health issues. I've, struggled, as I mentioned, with addiction in the past. A lot of it had to do with my upbringing and the family and environment that I grew up with, which really comes to the mental aspect of things. So that was very much a piece of it with Put the Guns Down. And then I experienced gun violence myself as well, 7 years old. Second grade, I was going to basketball practice on a Tuesday night. And we couldn't have basketball practice. It happened right at Golden Hill Church on Golden Hill Ave in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Somebody was just deleted due to gun violence on the corner there. And growing up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, drugs, gangs, mobs, like I talked about in Amps and Boom. It was prevalent all over the place. So, and it got so conditioned as just normal to me, like. I had an episode when I was 35 years old. I was out at a club in Fort Collins, Colorado, and a SWAT team ended up coming to the club that night. I look around, I'm like probably a dozen to a dozen and a half SWAT teams, guns, armor, the whole 9, trying to take out some international fugitive. That ended up happening going on at the night.
Wow.
Everybody's freaking out. The lights are on. And here's me. I look around because I'm in the middle of ordering shots of tequila. I'm trying to pay for my shots of tequila while all of this is going on. Like literally 12 to a dozen and a half people are storming with guns.
Mm.
And the bartender's like ducking down and screaming, and I'm looking around. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was so conditioned where I grew up. And so again, that the conditioning, the mental
Yep.
aspect of it. So
Very much
it was
so.
really two-pronged for me to get, make sure that put the guns down and the underlying issue of the mental health, that we are another avenue where that message can get out, because it's something very near and dear to me. I mean, like, to not be able to unpack that until this summer, as far
Exactly.
as what happened when I was 35, because I sit there and think about it now. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
like, that's crazy, because literally I looked around. I was the only person standing, other than, of course, the people
With the guns.
with the guns.
Yeah.
I was the only person standing. And I'm
Mm.
just sitting there taking my shots of tequila
Just complete
like it's another
numb.
day in
It's
Bridgeport,
just
Connecticut.
right. It's just numbness. Right.
Wild.
Which
So
is contributes to a lot of the ills going on in the world. And the interesting thing that I found too is that the Put the Guns Down is actually from a movie, and we're gonna talk about that because I really want the opportunity to talk to you more about the documentary that also details other people's stories very similar to yours, and people who have actually been affected by gun violence. It's a big deal. I would love to have you back on to talk about that specifically,
we would welcome that
because
opportunity.
we're gonna
Absolutely.
we're gonna get around to wrapping this up. But there's so much more of a conversation I would like to have in reference to that, and even have the people on that worked on the documentary. And because I think I watched it and I feel like it was so moving, and I get why it moved you. On top of tying together your personal experiences to include this in your platform,
Yes.
and it is something that affects everybody. So I would love to talk to you about that. But you mentioned some things about what's coming down the pike, but
Yeah.
I still have to ask the question: what is next for Mikey P LID13?
Oh, God, growth.
Mm,
Growth. Walking one day at a time. I tell people that we wake up with something called, gifts every day, and that's our two eyes opening.
yeah.
And then it's a matter of what are you going to do with it. So, Amps and Boom is coming out here in a couple days. I've already got my next two projects lined out. I got Supervillain coming out.
Super villain. Now,
With,
so who is the villain?
so the villain is really someone who raw and authentically speaks the truth. People along the way have made me the villain because I've stood up for myself. Or I don't want to say call them out on something, but I point things out that just don't make sense based on what they've said
Right.
in the past, or outright people who straight fucked me over. So the Supervillain EP, there's going to be 2, maybe 3 people that y'all are going to have a song dedicated to you
Oh,
and you only. Now, let me be very clear here,
lyrical
people.
shots fired.
I do not do diss tracks, okay? I do not do diss tracks. I do something called fact tracks.
Oh,
So anything I ever say about somebody,
okay.
please know this ahead of time, especially when I drop Supervillain.
This is making so much more sense now.
It is going to be all factual. When you get my artistry, you get my lyrics, you get my bars, however you want to classify them, everything is true. So there's going to be some fun tracks to the Supervillain that are going to speak to people more in general as well. But there going to be a couple people.
This is going to be very pointed.
Yes, it is. And then after that, down the road, my first full album that I'm going to put together is going to be called Welcome to Villainville. So we've got Supervillain coming as an EP to thank all those people that I'm going to be talking about factually. And then as far as my debut LP, which I'm telling you, it's going to surprise a lot of people. You'll see what I mean down the road, but I've got plans, and my plans are going to come together for Welcome to Villainville down the road as well.
I love that. I can't wait to have you back on after that project, because that is going to be an eye-opening experience. I thank you so much
I appreciate the time. Thank
for
you so much
joining
and the
me, for
opportunity.
being here, for sharing and being open and candid, which you don't, I mean, there's no choice. That's how you are. That's what you're going to do.
I'm as real as it can be.
So, but there is one more thing that I need you to do,
Okay.
and that is to make your mark on the wall of fame. And we should probably, since you're a villain, call it infamy. But I want to do something while we close. While you go up to do the Wall of Fame, we're going to share an evil laugh together, a villain laugh.
Let's do it.
As you walk over. Ready? Oh my gosh. Many thanks to Mikey P, also known as LID13, for joining me. I didn't even know what to expect, but I'm so glad that we got what we got. New episodes of Getting Close Up air every Friday. So I'm going to bring you a new fave, a new story every Friday. So come join us. If you want to be a guest on the show, go ahead and head over to our website at www.thesync.com. Look for the GCU tab and click on the guest request form. And you could be here in the purple chair, sharing an evil laugh with me as well. I thank you guys for watching. You're the best part of all of this, and I'll see you again soon for another close-up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.